Hey, if you're new to the channel, I'm Jolly. I'm a longtime old school RuneScape player who for the last 5 months has been playing through RS3 unguided. And I'd like to think that at this point, I'm pretty much in the mid game. I don't know, here are my stats. What do you think? I've been on a mission to really see if RS3 is worth playing, and doing so in an unguided sense where I'm not using the wiki or any YouTube guides. If I have any questions, I just ask the players around me. I've definitely ran into a few sticky points so far as I approach the mid-game of the journey. And as of making this video, RS3 just came out with the mid-game rebalance. It's all live. I don't know exactly what that's going to include, but we're going to go through it all together, and I'm going to share my thoughts as a newer player, as an unguided player, and, you know, see what I think about it. As with all of these types of videos, they're just my opinion, and I would love for you to share your opinion down in the comments below. The mid-game rebalance has arrived with a strong focus on improving the mid-game experience through targeted buffs and quality of life upgrades. We love quality of life upgrades. Our goal is to bring key areas of progression up to more modern standards and make the journey through the mid-game more rewarding. Music to my ears. First up is the core Fletching re-tier. Now, personally, this is by far the biggest roadblock that I have felt as an unguided Iron Man playing through RS3, is realizing how ridiculous the Fletching requirements are for the actual items you get and how effective they are. It's all out of whack. Basically, you need a really high Fletching level to get pretty mid-tier stuff. The Fletching re-tier has been in the works for quite some time, and the mid-game rebalance provides the perfect opportunity to finally bring it to life. Over the years, a number of inconsistencies have appeared through Fletching progression. Certain weapons and ammunition have level requirements that don't align with similarly powered equipment found elsewhere in the game. Exactly! While some level bands contain noticeable gaps or confusing progression paths. Some of these issues have also emerged due to the previous woodcutting tiering changes. That's one thing I've noticed personally, is that the woodcutting levels to cut the trees and the Fletching levels corresponding to it have not aligned well at all. It's important to note that this update focuses on re-tiering the core Fletching skill rather than overhauling it entirely. Honestly, that's totally fine. I feel like the Fletching skill in general in RuneScape, like in all versions of the game, is a pretty fine skill, honestly. I mean, what more could you want for it is what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know. You get what you kind of need out of it. Okay, here's the juicy bits. You, short bows, and long bows are re-tiered to level 70, and as a result have become members-only items. Free-to-play players will still have level 40-50 range options through Maple and Acadia bows. For my old school guys watching, Acadia is like a tree in between Maple and you. Okay, you, short bows, and long bows are re-tiered to level 70. Is that lower or higher than before? I feel like that's a higher Fletching level now, and you can cut U's starting at level 60, right? So it still feels misaligned, I guess. Wow, shield bows are being retired and replaced wholesale with their equivalent tier longbows. That's huge. The shield bow was very iconic to RS3. Like when I first started playing, I was like, whoa, what the hell's a shield bow? And I remember thinking like, wow, this replaced the longbows. But I guess in the essence of bringing back the essence of the core of RuneScape, they're taking the shield bows out. They're going back to just classic longbows. That's crazy. Quite a bold move, but honestly, more fitting. I mean, what can be more medieval fantasy-esque than a longbow? Shield bow's cool, but doesn't feel very RuneScapey. But I don't know, what do you think? Are you more of a shield bow or a longbow fan? Oh, apparently their usage, the shield bow usage was incredibly low. They were actually adding bloat and inconsistency to the game. Hey, good on Jagex for addressing that. But by replacing them with longbows, we expect the choice of bow to be made easier and less confusing. Huh, is it just going back to longbows have a little bit more range, but a little less, like, firing speed? I thought that's how shield bows were. I never really used one, if I'm being honest. Did you use shield bows? Oh, this is interesting. The primary reason for this change is because shield bows have acted as a bit of a trap to newer players who are Fletching them without realizing that they deal vastly reduced damage compared to the equivalent short bow. I kind of figured that they would deal less damage, but I didn't know it was vastly reduced damage. Plus, to be honest, I've always been kind of more of a short bow, rapid fire guy anyway, in old school and in RS3, so I never even really thought about it, honestly. I just figured that shield bows were equivalent to long bows, like they were just longer range, took longer to fire, and I'm trying to get that quick DPS. Okay, they're adding in missing tiers of arrows and bolts. This is interesting. So this is one of the big things that's different in RS3 compared to old school. If you're an old school person, you've got your bronze, iron, steel, mithril, adamant, rune. But after that, it doesn't just go to dragon. You have these like in-between new ores that are part of like the expanded mining and smithing system in RS3. Orichalcum, nechrite, some other ones I don't really know. But they're essentially to fill those 10 level gaps that come every 10 levels. And when you get into the smithing system in RS3, you realize, okay, this is a lot more consistent of them to add these types of extra ammunition. It just makes sense because it's in all the other ones. It might as well be in these other like newer bars too. Look at this. We've got a table here showing the new fletching levels for things. I'm not really sure why it says fletching live and fletching new. I don't really get what that means. Isn't it live now? Like the patch is live. But wow, yeah, some of the early game things like oak bows go from 20 down to 10. Willow from 35 to 20. Maple from 50 to 40. Okay, got it. Oh, and the Acadia, that in-between log I was talking about. Now that's actually in there. So it's interesting to see that we still have a bit of a gap here between 50 and 70 for you. But this makes a lot more sense. Okay, so the U crafting is now higher leveled, but the bows are way higher tier. Look at this. The U short bow used to be tier 40 and is now going to be tier 70. That's massive. And I feel like when I'm leveling my range, I feel like that was going to be a gap that I was going to find out was like, I don't have any good weapons to fill that gap without having an insanely high fletching level. That's okay. Now it's all connecting in my head. I was leveling my fletching up so that way I could craft a tier 50 something, you know, magic short bow tier 50 at level 80 fletching. It was going to be ridiculous. But they've been re-tiered to be appropriate power levels. This is massive for the range mid-game. And we can see it's the same thing here for the long bows. Again, shield bows gone, but all those levels readjusted. So instead of the levels ending in a 0, they're ending in a 5 for the long bows. Now, this is interesting. They're also redoing the crossbows, and this looks like a pretty major overhaul. Check out the old versus new fletching levels. Before, you needed almost 70 fletching to get a rune crossbow. Now you just need 53. You used to need 61 fletching to get an adamant crossbow, and now it's only 43. I like how they're using, you know, like it ends in a 3 to like fill those gaps in between the long bows, the short bows, etc., making the levels feel more rewarding each time. And look, they've added a bunch of new crossbows here. So the Orichalcum, the Necronium, okay, Bane and Elder Rune. Those are the only, I haven't gotten to those yet in my progression, but those weren't here before, and now they're here. Excellent to fill in the skilling gaps. We can see the same thing with the arrows here, that the old fletching levels are way higher than the new ones. I mean, we're talking like adamant arrows used to be level 60 fletching to make. You can now do them at level 40. And they're matching the smithing level to be in line with the fletching level, which is huge for Iron Man. Because yeah, as an Iron Man, you could make adamant arrow tips at level 40, but you couldn't fletch adamant arrows until level 60. It was super weird. This is the type of rebalancing that was needed. And it looks like it's going to be the same thing for making bolts, where the new levels are drastically lower than the old levels and more in line with the equivalent smithing levels. That was definitely one of the weirdest things. Oh, okay, I'm smithing some adamant bolts at level 40 and then go to fletch them and it says, oh yeah, you need level 61 fletching. You're like, what? 60? I guess these will just sit in my bank. I know I'm not the only Iron Man out there who is super stoked by this. And it just makes sense. It's just them cleaning things up and making everything more in line. We love to see it. So this is interesting, an agility rebalance. Now, I haven't really touched agility on my account since the Easter event that was held back in March and April, where I got to like level 60 something. Okay, I just went and checked. I was level 67 agility, and I haven't even really touched the skill since that Easter event. So essentially, it looks like most of the courses here from level 50 to 97 are getting pretty significant XP buffs. And if we scroll all the way to the side here, we can actually see the XP percentage change, where some of these courses are getting, you know, 25 to 50% XP changes. But look at some of these other courses, 132% more XP, 148% more XP, 166% more. I mean, that's crazy. What's this 166%? Advanced Barbarian Outpost. You know that Barbarian Outpost thing has just probably been sitting there, super low XP, no one's doing it, but it required 90. I'm just guessing that was probably an update from, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something, and it just hasn't been brought up to date. And now it's like, wow, a lot of these courses have insanely more incentive to go check out. And you know, is 200k XP an hour still ass for agility? Yeah, it is. But you know what? We'll take it. This will at least make my eventual agility grind a little bit more manageable. I mean, who's gonna say no to more XP for a skill that's so click intensive like agility? I guess the only people who would say no are the people who already have max capes or 200 mil XP in the skill. Overall, I think it's a really good change. Agility is just one of those skills in the RuneScape universe that has always sat in this very strange place of always very click intensive and not amazing XP per hour compared to a lot of the other RuneScape skills. And so bringing this in line to make it a little bit more tolerable. I mean, we're still talking way less XP per hour than most of the other skills for a skill that's way more click intensive. I mean, this is good. Okay, some Divination rebalance. Now this is interesting. I've actually really enjoyed Divination for the most part. It is a very, very chill, highly AFK skill. The XP per hour is nothing crazy, but the AFK intervals are awesome. And the Guthix cash minigame, I would say it's okay. It gives really good XP and only comes around, you know, every so often. I don't know, is it like once every like 30, 40 minutes or something like that? I'm trying to think of like on my grind to level 80 Divination, how many times I was doing it. I think I was doing it a couple times an hour. But just the general click on the spring, gather it, and then deposit it, super chill. I like those kind of skills personally. That's because a lot of my RuneScape time is spent doing highly AFK skills while I'm editing and such. But they're trying to make energy gathering feel more consistent as you level up, avoiding situations where unlocking a new energy type can feel slower or less effective than what came before. I personally didn't feel that. In fact, I really liked that every 10 levels, you get a new energy source, you have to travel to a new place. Even if it was lower XP or lower gathering rates when I did that, I didn't notice because I was just happy to be in a new spot, because every, you know, 10 levels of Divination, especially in the mid levels, after a while, you're ready for some scenery change. So even just getting a chance to go to a new spot was always enough. I never really thought it was like slower. The chances below show the average increase to your chance of gathering each type of energy across its level range. So when you gather the energy, it's what fills up your inventory. So if they're going to increase that, that's technically a less long AFK interval, but more XP per hour. For example, a player unlocking Gleaming Energy at level 50 would previously have had around a 64.9% chance to successfully gather the energy. With this update, that increases to 70% and continues to improve as their divination level rises. Over time, this works out to an average increase of around 4% across the level band. That doesn't sound significant at all. I feel like if they didn't say that, I don't know if I would have even noticed when gathering. So that's what, 4 extra orbs in your inventory every 4 inventories? Or basically like 1 extra orb per inventory faster. That doesn't seem like a lot, but they're not trying to make it like crazy. And I don't remember which levels. So they have the different levels here. I honestly can't remember which ones correspond to what. I'm guessing this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. But at this point for me, we're getting small increase of success chance. I feel like it's very negligible, honestly. Anyone who was hyped about like a Divination big rebalance, I feel like is not gonna be like thrilled with this. God Wars dungeon changes. I'm gonna scroll through this only because I'm not even close to being in the God Wars dungeon yet. Okay, I am a little curious though. I was just skimming through and I saw now the kill count in the dungeon, as far as, you know, getting the kills that you need to go into a boss, it's no longer lost when you leave the dungeon, allowing you to build and maintain it across multiple visits. That's a really nice quality of life update. All this stuff about rep and drop rates, I'm just so unfamiliar with this stuff. I'm not gonna really bother with it. They also have some general changes, and I'm gonna go through the ones that I feel like apply to me, or at least that I have discovered so far. I don't know what the demonic skull is. I don't know what invention perks are. Ooh, the dive ability though. This ability is currently locked behind the succession quest, which requires 60 mining and 60 smithing to complete. These requirements fell out of step with the ability itself, creating an unnecessary progression barrier and making the unlock path feel inconsistent. To better align the ability with its intended use, it is no longer required to complete the quest and instead unlock naturally at 30 agility. So dive is essentially, for my old school guys, it's one of the two other, there's an ability called surge where like you shoot forward, and then dive, which I think kind of does the same thing. You basically cover a bunch of tiles all of a sudden in like one tick. It's cool and is apparently super essential for a lot of PVM stuff. Yes, it adds complexity to the game, get over it. But I've never had the dive ability because I'm just doing quests in whatever order I see fit. And I knew I was told I have to do this quest or some quest to get it eventually, but now I should just have it. Red and crystal sandstone, I don't even know what that is. Harmonium harps, beats me. Jad, who's that? Just kidding. But this one is huge. And in fact, I've actually already noticed this morning because I woke up, grabbed my coffee and started grinding some gem rocks. The gem bag, which stores your gems, has been massively upgraded. Before, it was storing up to 60 of each of the different gems. Now, it stores up to 100 of each gem, and they're even adding in space for jades, opals, red topazes. So you could literally have like 1,000 gems in your gem bag, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. They've updated some drop rates, and the one that caught my eye here is the Dragon Pickaxe. Now they say here the Dragon Pickaxe is an important mid-game upgrade, but is it, honestly? Because with the different metals that bridge the gap after rune, like orichalcum, necronium, etc., I'm already 80 mining. Once I get 80 smithing, I'm able to do like the Bane pickaxe. I feel like the Bane pickaxe is going to be better than the Dragon Pickaxe. So I feel like I maybe have skipped the need for the Dragon Pickaxe entirely, but I'm not actually sure. If I'm missing something, let me know, please. They want to make it more accessible while preserving its value and keeping it a rewarding drop. So drop rates are going from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 3,000. From the Chaos Giant Dragon, which I didn't know was a thing. Drop rate increased from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 1,000. Wow, that's a massive increase in drop rate for a giant Chaos Giant Dragon. Sanguine Crawlers beats me. Corporeal Beast beats me. Who's Linza? And wow, that's it. Okay, so some pretty cool updates. I would say the ones that are most impactful to me are the Fletching updates and the gem bag updates, honestly. What's interesting is that there's just not a lot of mid-game RuneScape players right now, I would assume. You know, I feel like there's more people coming to the game and eventually are going to get there, which is, I think, why they did this, in anticipation for that. But I figure most regular RS players are either new or super long time. So I wonder how much of an impact this is going to have on the current player base. Does this have an impact on you? I'm super curious. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Make sure you let me know. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.